Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today. Once more, before the end of the year, we got to return to Cyberpunk 2077. It's just been about a year since this game has released, and the situation is improving. It's also gotten a little bit weird. We're going to highlight that in today's video. So if you're new here and you're looking for more Cyberpunk stuff, do consider subscribing. I think the early parts of 2022 are going to be very interesting. We'll see if they're good or bad, but definitely very interesting for CD Projekt Red. So we'll have much to talk about then as they release their next-gen updates for Cyberpunk and The Witcher, and we'll compare and contrast those and see what the expansions and DLC look like for Cyberpunk. It's going to be really interesting to see that game try to take on a second life. But for now, we got to get into more bad news, lies, and strange stuff happening with this game. So let's do it.
But first, a word from our sponsor.
All right, headphone users, prepare yourselves, especially those of you out there who are like me and a part of Team Wired. You're about to go wireless with the Master and Dynamic MG20 wireless gaming headphones. They were kind enough to send them my way. I've been using them on Discord. I've been using them while I'm playing Halo. I've been using them during content. Game changer. There's a detachable boom microphone, so you don't have to use that if you have your own microphone set up like I do for podcasting. There's customizable settings throughout the Master and Dynamic app. The ear cups themselves are very cushioned, which makes them extremely comfortable to use. But more than anything is the easy to use, low latency USB-A adapter that you plug right into your computer. It syncs up no problem whatsoever. There's 22 hours of battery life in a single charge with these headphones. So again, if you're like me, you grind Discord, you grind games, you're just trying to have a good, comfortable pair of headphones that you don't have to worry about getting the wires tangled up as you wheel your computer chair around. This is the play. Cannot recommend them enough. There will be a link in the description down below for those of you who are interested in checking out what Master and Dynamic has cooked up. Starting off with the first headline, CD Projekt Red has settled its Cyberpunk launch lawsuit, suing investors just $1.85 million. According to the term sheet, members of the class, including the plaintiffs, shall relinquish any and all claims against the company and members of its management board, the statement reads. In return, a settlement in the amount of $1.85 million shall be paid out to the class by the company and its insurer. As expressly stated in the term sheet, execution of the term sheet does not imply admission of any responsibility on the part of the company or any of the other defendants named in the case. For comparison, this is from VGC, CD Projekt Red made over $563 million in game sales during Cyberpunk's release month alone, and spent just $2.2 million on its Help Me Refund campaign designed to provide refunds to players who were unable to claim one from the original vendor. So I thought this one was really interesting because my read on it is the investors were pissed that they didn't make a lot of money, but the people who were putting the biggest pressure on the developers to get this game out in the time frame they did were the suits, were the investors, were the higher-ups at CD Projekt Red. I think The Verge put it into good perspective here, so I wanted to shout out their article. While the settlement will likely have to be approved by a court, it sounds like the lead plaintiffs and their lawyers negotiated for a fairly tiny sum here in exchange for relinquishing any and all claims against the company and members of the management board. I hope one day I'm rich enough to say that $1.85 million is considered a fairly tiny sum. That's where you consider the game that had a development budget over $360 million, recouped that entire development and marketing budget in digital pre-orders alone, and didn't see any huge impact from refunds. Perhaps the plaintiffs didn't have much of a case. It's worth noting that this lawsuit, technically 4 lawsuits, had been rolled into one, were brought by shareholders who believed that they were misled about the company's financial performance and not gamers who actually purchased the game itself. So they were pissed they didn't get the results they wanted, but their pressure is what resulted in it from, again, my understanding here. And so they settle, and CD Projekt Red's got to pay them again and say, like, all right, leave us alone. We get it. You're upset. Again, no legal expert here, but I just thought this was a really weird story to lead things off with. I'm sure there are some people in the comments who can offer more insight on this. I don't pretend to be a legal expert here. I don't pretend to understand the ins and outs of it. But again, it's something I thought was really fascinating. But let's talk about something else that I also think we can all get in on, like sales. Remember when CD Projekt Red had Cyberpunk at a projection of 30+ million sales by this point? It's time to see just how short they came up on this one. All right, so this one comes from Tweaktown. Analysts reduce Cyberpunk 2077 sales predictions by 65%. Financial analysts now estimate that Cyberpunk 2077 has sold roughly 17.3 million copies from launch until present day, down from the lofty 30 million target that was originally made. This drop is due to the ongoing maintenance of the game and the disastrous launch performance on PS4 and Xbox One that has only slowly been fixed with patches and updates. Despite multiple major patches, Sony warns consumers not to play the game on the base PS4 hardware. Quote, "Purchase for use on PS4 systems is not recommended," end quote. So this one isn't strange. This just kind of sucks for them, but yeah, this is, you make your bed, you lie in it. That's kind of the story with CD Projekt Red, and why, again, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how competitive they get in the beginning part of 2022, when a lot of people are looking forward to new, next-gen, defining experiences. And CD Projekt Red had their window, and they blew it for a lot of people. So I'm really going to be keen to see, like, okay, we missed our mark big time. How do we get this money back long-term? Because we'll talk about it in a little bit later, but they denied any inclusion of Game Pass because they still think that it's too soon. So in their eyes as a company, they think there's money to be made. And they're like, yeah, we're not going on Game Pass yet. We're still going to be selling this game to people. We'll see for how much they're selling it for. But again, I think where they're at is just very telling of why we like what we saw with Halo Infinite, what we're hearing about with something such as The Scorn, where it's like, yeah, year-long delay, sucks big time, but like, hey, let's get this one right. And I bet CD Projekt Red's kicking themselves now, because you saw what happened when Halo took that huge delay. Like, a lot of fans were kicking and screaming, and we didn't know which way it was going to go, but it ended up pretty solid. So now let's move our attention back to the weird here. Turns out Keanu Reeves never played Cyberpunk 2077. Yes, the man who played Johnny Silverhand never played the game. This is very common amongst actors and actresses of any medium. There's actors and actresses who don't even watch the movies they're in, which is a much shorter time investment, let alone voice actors, voice actresses not even playing the games they're in. Now, I like it when the talent gets involved with the games they're in and kind of embody that character and become one of their community. I think it's cool, but it's definitely not required. So don't get me wrong on this one. But the reason why this is making headlines is CD Projekt Red lied. They lied about this one. How so? Let's read. There's another moment that caught folks' attention. Reeves' brief admission that he never played the game in which he starred, Cyberpunk 2077, which launched a year ago. First spotted on Reddit by a now deleted account, the admission directly contradicts statements made by CD Projekt Red CEO Adam Kaczynski in late 2020. But when asked if he played video games himself, he offers a quick, direct, one-word answer: no. When asked in a follow-up, even Cyberpunk, he responds, no. I've seen demonstrations, but I've never played the game. Now compare that with what Kaczynski told investors in CD Projekt Red's third quarter earnings call. Translated by Seeking Alpha, a question from an unknown source emerges late in the call. Has Keanu played the game? Kaczynski says, yes, he played the game, but as far as I know, haven't finished it yet. So, but definitely, he played the game, and he loves it. Does that, like, are they just compulsive liars is how I read that? You know, because I think to myself, is their mindset like, oh, if he hasn't played it, no one's going to buy it? I guess it's one of those things, like, I don't see any damage in 2020 hindsight. I don't see any damage if he didn't play it and they made that known. Like, it's, again, pretty common that the talent doesn't play or involve themselves in the art. They just kind of go in, do their job, and live their life. It's a job for them, right? So I get it. They don't have to be fully invested in the medium that they perform for. But this, to me, was just, again, like, why lie? Why? Thought it was really strange, though, again, because I don't think Keanu Reeves playing Cyberpunk makes a difference on the status of the game whatsoever, but I just think it was a dirty trail of lies, and here we are still cleaning up that mess very, very much deep into the game's life. Last bit of news, if you will, that I wanted to highlight here. I remember around Black Friday, Cyberpunk 2077 went on sale for $10. And when this happens, a lot of us think, well, the game can't be generating that much money. Clearly, Cyberpunk should use something like Game Pass, right? Just get people to play your game, enjoy the game as it is, because not a lot of people are going to be willing to give you a chance. And clearly, they're not buying it if you're just selling it for $10 right now. I mean, this is a game that was supposed to be a high-profile, high-investment, multimedia, AAA behemoth. It certainly hasn't reached that quite yet. So, when I went online and I saw it is still on sale for $10, this has nothing to do with Black Friday. It's on sale at Best Buy. It's on sale at GameStop. I saw it and I went, my God, really? Really? The reason to me this is so surprising is because, as I said earlier in the video, CD Projekt Red just doubled down on the idea that it's too early for Game Pass. And I'm telling everyone, fasten those seatbelts. They're going to try to sell you the game for full price again when it comes out on next gen. I would be stunned if they said, here's the free next gen console update with the changes you were looking for, and that they didn't repackage that and ship it again for full price. I would be stunned. There's going to be some type of pay method here, because otherwise, I think Game Pass is your route, right? Put it on Game Pass. Do what Skyrim Special Edition did. Put the base game of Cyberpunk there and make it where it's like, hey, if you pay for the upgrade, it's only $10. Then it's a little less arguable. But I just get this feeling like they are going to try to charge full price because they're going low with this one. And yet, no matter how low it goes, they're saying it is too soon for Game Pass. Now, my only other thought here is they plan to add it to Game Pass, and they want to collect every bit of money they can off this game, which is seeming like a satisfying investment, but not the gargantuan success that they were looking for. Where come, say, April next year, maybe it makes a little more sense then for Game Pass, when that was the plan all along. Again, we just saw them lie about Keanu Reeves playing Cyberpunk. So it wouldn't shock me that they've also lied about Game Pass. But we will see in due time. Just a collection of really weird news that I wanted to highlight in today's video. So let me know what you're thinking about all of this in the comments down below. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. A big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.